AITA for making a set list of rules for a Disney trip? Hello, throwaway account since my sisters use Reddit. Every single year, me and my sisters take a girls trip to a random location. This year was finally my turn to plan a trip, so I decided to book a trip to Disney World for 10 days. My sisters were very excited about this trip, and so was I. But the booking process took a plus it was pretty costly. Well, we are leaving in a week and I have created a set of rules for the trip. For example, no sleeping in past 8 a.m., rope dropping, wear sneakers only, due to a lot of walking, etc. I sent my sisters this list today so they could know what to expect. They didn't take it too well and said that I was being very overdramatic and that this wasn't needed. I told them that this definitely was needed to get the best experience out of Disney World. We got into an argument over it and now they are saying they no longer want Togo on the trip. I thought that making this list of rules would make things easier for everyone and make it a more enjoyable time, but maybe I was being a bit dramatic. AITA for kicking my sister out of my engagement dinner because she wouldn't stop taking photos and made a scene? I'm blessed to be marrying the love of my life. My engagement party was booked at an upscale restaurant, and prior to the day I sat my sister down and told her that I wanted the party to be focused on the wedding and to please not go above and beyond to take photos for her social media page. I might get flack for this part, but my sister is trying really hard to become famous online. I've never said anything to her because she's an adult and this is her life, but for my wedding I really didn't want her to pull any of her antics. Because she doesn't just take a few photos to post. She's the embarrassing, emo, caricature of the perpetually online influencer. She'll order 2 dishes at a restaurant, one to take photos of, because it's prettier, and the second to actually eat. She stopped traffic before to take outfit photos in the street. She's also staged fake things to post online. One time she started crying in a Starbucks and made a fake store up about how the barista bullied her. I want to make it clear that I did not bar my sister from taking photos. I just didn't want doing something that would embarrass me. Everything was okay, until she literally stood on top of her chair to take a top-down photo of her meal. Everyone was staring and in shock, and a waiter had to come and ask her to sit down. She refused to, and started to loudly argue with the waiter, saying that she was the sister of the bride, and then started to loudly sob that she was getting bullied. I was mortified and immediately had the groomsmen escort her out of the room. She's since blasted me in social media, calling me an for not handling the situation with more grace and empathy. She says that I could have given her a warning instead of kicking her immediately out. I was kind of panicking, so I wonder if I could have handled it better. AITA for buying myself expensive clothes when my family struggles to make ends meet? I, 18F, have recently started my first full-time job. I still live at home and pay $300 fortnightly for rent. I pay for all my other necessities myself, egg, phone bill, and hygiene products. My family has been very poor my whole life. As my mum, 44F, is a single mum who is studying full-time and looking after 5 children. I have a slight shopping addiction, as girls my age do, and at least once a week some sort package, food order is showing up at our doorstep. Today a new pair of jeans, around $150, arrived. Aussie was in desperate need for a new pair, as I've outgrown my old ones, and my mum blew up at me. She called me selfish, insensitive, and that she's ashamed I am her daughter, telling me that I should think about how it makes her feel when I buy an excessive amount of clothes, when she can barely afford to heat the house in the wintertime. So am I the AmItheAsshole for not offering to pay more rent and help more with my family of 6's bills? Or is she insane for asking me to stop spending my hard-earned money on things I want? Edit. Just a bit more context for everyone. The jeans wear a nice pair of blue Levi's jeans, that should last me forever as they are such good quality, which is why they were so expensive. Thesis in Australian dollars as well. People who say I'm flaunting my money, I'd like to specify that I'm at work when the packages come, someone will take them in. I have not asked her to do this, and she or my sisters will always ask what it is, to try it on and how much it was. Addressing the shopping addiction as well, I have a long list of mental health issues which I think contribute greatly to the addiction, but I'm trying to get it under control. AITA for undermining my sister's parenting? My husband and I are child-free. We always wanted kids but it never worked out, so instead we focus it in career, travel, and being the best aunt and uncle to our various nieces and nephews. My sister, Sally, lives closest to us and has 3 children: Jane, Mary, and John. Sally is a single mother and has always been a bit tougher on her kids than I would have been, but I fully accept that she had the right to raise them as she saw fit. One of Sally's biggest parenting tenets was that at age 18, her kids needed to start paying rent or move out. Jane and Mary both worked very hard in school and sports, both got into colleges and went to live in the dorms, so no issue there. John, on the other hand, has always struggled academically due to various learning disabilities. He didn't. Ahead of turning 18, and Sally applied some tough love by demanding he pay back rent or be evicted after 6 months of not working or paying rent. I felt this was overkill, and so I invited John to stay with me free of charge. John accepted my offer eagerly and finished high school under my roof. He has since started training as an electrician and continues to live with us. We have never asked for a cent, but he voluntarily chooses to do chores around the house and dog sits when we travel. We love having him around and he seems happy. Sally, however, has gone ballistic. She claims that we are enabling him to be lazy, and that by offering him a free place to stay, we denied him the chance to learn how to survive on his own. We recently rehashed this fight at a family gathering. Sally pointed out that now John has learned that instead of being independent, he can just mooch off of others' kindness. Mary agrees with her mother, and Jane took my side. Sally was especially hurt because she feels that I am playing mother to John and demonizing her by saying she was too harsh.
AITA for announcing my pregnancy at my sister's wedding? I'm 32, my sister is 28, and we've always been incredibly close. Point in case, she was the first person I told that I was pregnant, besides my husband of course. I told her essentially a week after I got a positive pregnancy test, which was about 3 months before her wedding. I told her that I was going to tell our parents and my husband's parents around the 10-week mark, but she told me that I should hold off until her wedding in September. I'd be like 4 months along at that point, so I wouldn't be showing really. And she thought it would be so special for her to be able to make an announcement about a special guest at her wedding, and it be her first niece or nephew, and my parents' first grandbaby. I agreed, because it seemed like it meant a lot to her, and again, we were super close and I was happy to do that for her. Turns out, the first trimester was awful with morning sickness and exhaustion. I would have preferred to be able to talk about it with my mom, but I was willing to grin and bear it for my sister's wedding. Well, the wedding came along, and about halfway through the night, I asked her when the announcement was happening. She told me that Shahad changed her mind and that her wedding didn't seem like a good time or place to announce my pregnancy. I was obviously super upset since I went through a really awful first trimester with only my sister and husband to lean on. I decided I wasn't going to put the announcement on hold any longer, just for her, so my husband and I pulled my parents aside and quietly told them to keep it private for the evening. They were thrilled, lots of hugs, a few tears, but a very touching and private moment. Literally no one else found out until I announced it on Facebook a week later. My sister found out around the same time as my Facebook post when my dad mentioned how we told him about it, and she texted me and called me a *itch who made her wedding about myself, and she hasn't spoken to me since. I've messaged her and apologized probably a dozen times since then, but she refuses to talk to me, and now she refuses to come see her little nephew who is almost a month old at this point. My parents and partner think I did nothing since she went back on her word, and that I should just wait it out and she'll come around. I'm obviously unsure, as clearly this has made her soup set with me, and we were so close before. AITA? Edit. I've seen a lot of comments saying that I was trying to be petty, mean, vindictive, spiteful, hurt my sister, etc. And I just wanted to address that really quickly. If I had been any of the things, I would have made sure she found out that I had done it, you know? She just happened to find out a week later because my dad let it slip. I just desperately wanted to tell my mom, and after waiting over 2 months for my sister, it really felt like I couldn't wait another moment at the whims of someone who wasn't even involved in the pregnancy. I understand now though that definitely should not have waited to tell my mom about the pregnancy. Hindsight is 20/20 and all that. AITA for telling my brother to get over it after I let my ex in his house so he could see our sick son? I don't want to go too much into detail, but I'm divorcing my ex. It's been messy and I've been living with my brother as he helped me leave him. My brother used to be friends with my ex, so the divorce has been rough for him too, and I think he's been focusing on his anger so he doesn't have to accept that my ex hurt him too. My son was sick and he kept asking for his dad, so I asked my ex to come and see him. My brother was out when he came over, but my sister-in-law was home and she kept telling me he wouldn't like it when he found out. I think she called him because he came home early and he knew before he even saw my ex. Had told my ex to get out of his house and to stay away from me and forget he had a son. My ex refused. Booty made him go as their arguing was upsetting my son. Once he left and my son had calmed down, my brother turned his anger on me. He thinks I'm insane for asking my ex to come and see our son, as he thinks I need to stay away from him until our divorce is finalized. He told me he didn't want him in his house again and wouldn't budge when I reminded him he's still my son's father. I was frustrated, so told him he needed to get over it because I did what was best for my son in the moment. AITA?